Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football. This weekend, Chris Hamill is sat to my right, and we start as ever with the talking point. You guys at home have been voting, and you voted for VAR-sicle on the weekend. What's happened, Christopher?
Well, they made a VAR of it, didn't they? Manchester United, Huddersfield. We're going to talk about the performance in a little bit. But all the controversy was centred around Juan Mata's disallowed goal. Someone slipped him through. Great ball. I think it was Young.
Brilliant bit of play by
skipped down the line. And the referee and the liner were happy to let the goal happen until the referee, Kevin Friend, I believe, had second feelings on the matter, went over to VAR, and then when they used the graphic with the lines that we were heralding a couple of weeks ago, they looked like they'd been spray painted on screen by a 5-year-old on Microsoft Paint.
What was going on?
So it was a little bit embarrassing for everyone involved. Apparently Hawkeye had supplied BT with the wrong graphic pre-game. That was just a rough parameter. Yeah. The one they did use to make the decision was with perfectly straight lines, according to them, and it was very, very marginally
close
offside by the width of a kneecap.
Yes.
A patella.
A centimetre.
But the lads on Sunday Supplement over at Sky, I say lads, they're fully grown men, have some solutions, if you want to call them that.
What's the biggest fundamental change that has to take place for VAR to gain acceptance in English football?
It's all about transparency. So I think we need to hear the conversation like we do in cricket, and I think we need to see the replays that are being watched by the VAR, because it's all about giving us confidence in the officials.
The VAR officials have got to be armed with the best possible footage, and that means taking the footage from Sky or BT or whoever are televising the game, because you've got so many camera angles. You are then armed with better information, and you're therefore able to make better decisions.
Okay, love it.
I think speed it up. I think it's going to be much faster. I almost think you have a cut-off point, so if you can't make a decision in a minute, then it's not proven, and that's it.
For me, VAR does need to change in some ways. Number one, I would be showing the replays on the big screen if possible, although I'm fully aware not every big stadium has a big screen. I think we could learn a lot from rugby here. I think the communication between the ref and the video assistant ref needs to improve massively, and we need to hear it, like the boys said, on Sunday Supplement. I also think the referee should have a clear set of questions he asks the fourth official to determine whether it's a goal. Goal, yes or no? Is there any clear and obvious reason I cannot award this goal?
Seems a little bit open to interpretation.
Too open at the moment, and that worries me. I also think it needs to happen a lot quicker, and there needs to be more explanation for people in the stadium. At the moment, you're kind of robbing the fans of the best moment in football, scoring that goal. If you're in the stadium, because you don't know what's happening, it's not really explained to you very clearly, there's nothing on the screen, it's just kind of 3 to 4 minutes of open, dead air. That needs to change massively, because at the end of the day, the fans in the stadium are the most important people. We sent our friend Olivia Dodd, anyway, to get some more opinions on the subject, onto the streets of London. Let's roll that VT.
She's not your friend, bro.
Hello guys, we're here in central London to find out what you think of VAR and if it's working here in England. So do you think VAR is working in English football at the moment?
I think it could be a lot better.
Yeah, because obviously human eyes don't see everything, so video technology does the job. Personally, I do think it's good, but I think when they work out the kinks and they get it all sorted out, I do personally think it's a bit better, because you always get goals that are not meant to be given or offsides that should have been given, so just stuff like that. Personally, I think it's better.
Yes.
It is?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's too many decisions that have been contentious and stuff like that, so it makes a lot of sense, yeah. Not as well as it could do.
So I think it's going, we're going to learn, but that's just getting all them bugs out of it and just getting quick with it.
Well, when they first brought it out, it was a long waiting time. Like there was, no one knew what was going on. But I think it will just get better over time. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you improve it?
Well, I think we should take a line from what happens in rugby, where it becomes part of the game. Yeah.
What do you think about VAR?
She's not talking. But I think generally it's a very good idea, because there's so many useless decisions by referees.
I don't really know, to be honest, other than like, I think the referees on the pitch have just got to say to the guy, who's the VAR ref, just like, that decision is final, and there's going to be a bit and ahhing a little bit about it.
Or improve it. Oh. I think maybe, I'm not quite sure on this, but I think maybe instead of the referee actually going and watching the footage himself, having a fourth official actually themselves radio the ref to speed up game a bit quicker.
Yeah.
If you ask me about Scottish football, I'll be able to tell you.
But we'll be seeing them at the same time as you because they're out filming them now in the rain and we're in the studio, so can't wait. What a treat that'll be, Joseph. But back to Sunday's supplement where Jason Burt, I believe, amidst that clip, said to put a 1 minute time limit on the process.
Disagree.
Not really familiar with the works of Jason Burt, but I don't believe giving the referee 60 seconds to come to the right decision is going to be the most fruitful thing to do, because surely then that would just cause unnecessary panic, and you'd rather have the right decision after 90 seconds than the wrong one after a minute, wouldn't you? And they need all the help they can get at the minute, not we're introducing new technology, you've got a minute to successfully carry it out. I'm actually of the same opinion as Juan Mata. He's very philosophical after the game. He said that the players don't mind this at the moment because they think that it's essential that this happens, that it promotes fairness within the game, which Jose also said. But you can see where David Wagner is coming from. He said it takes the emotion out of the event, despite it keeping his team in the game. He wasn't happy with it taking 4 minutes. There was it quelled the crowd somewhat, and that's not really what these FA Cup ties are about, is it? So I think we just got to give it time, baby. But ultimately, it's got to happen quicker than 4 minutes. Not really a solution, but moving on.
Our first winner comes from Conte for King on Twitter. If you want to be involved next week, send your suggestions into this man right here. He wants us to talk about Chelsea for obvious reasons, but what are those obvious reasons, Hamster?
It's because they kicked off the FA Cup weekend joy with a 4-0 drubbing of Nigel Adkins-Hull. And Willian, the Brazilian Will.i.am, was on fire. 2 goals hit the post, 4 shots, 6 completed dribbles, and didn't lose the ball once. David Myler couldn't get near him. He's now contributed to 14 goals in 14 starts this season. That's 9 goals and 5 assists. So he is knocking on Conte's door in terms of being a regular fixture in that Chelsea side, isn't he? Giroud also played very well on just his second Chelsea start. 2 assists and a goal, with his goal provided by new left-back Emerson. It was a nice little flicked finish too. That's 3 assists and a goal in just 2 starts for the gorgeous Frenchman with a huge schnoz. Now Chelsea were very clinical, 55% possession, 14 shots versus 10, 8 on target to Hull City's 5, which isn't bad. 5 on target against the Chelsea defence, which, apart from recent weeks, are traditionally quite mean. But Cesc Fabregas did give away a penalty when he chopped down Harry Wilson. Proper forwards tackle, extremely late, but the egg steps up. Willy Caballero saves his 5th penalty out of the last 8, excluding shootouts.
That's insane.
So that's his speciality, isn't it? But Conte, he rested Aspi, Hazard and Kante for this game, but still got the job done. And he said it gave him good doubts for the game against Barcelona. Probably, you know, sterner opposition, but still, positive vibes.
Yeah, probably sterner because Hull have been horrible for quite some time now. Mainly, Nigel Adkins' spell is not going down well. He's won just 4 of 14 games since taking over in December. They're just 1 point above championship relegation are the Tigers. Although, life was made even more difficult in this game because they were without a host of first-team players. In fact, they only had 1 or 2 fit defenders on the day. They've actually got 3 defenders on loan from Chelsea. All of them were eligible. So I think they've got Ola Aina, Hector and Tomori. None of them could play in this game. Not particularly great when you give the fact that Chelsea have won 7 consecutive games against Hull. They've scored 17 and kept 6 clean sheets in the process. So this was always going to be a bit of a formality with a weakened Hull team as well. I think it's fair to say Chelsea have tougher games coming up. They obviously play Leicester in the quarterfinals and they play Barcelona in the Champions League on Tuesday. That's the game we're all excited about. It's tomorrow night. But do you guys at home think they can get a result against the Blaugrana? Vote in the poll up there because it is going to be tougher than Hull City.
First up in the bin is Tottenham Hotspur, and this one comes from @Joshua and Darlaginge.
Oh dear, it's a Desmond 2-2 against League One strugglers Rochdale on their newly turfed pitch. The pitch has been a problem for the Dale all season, multiple postponements. They've actually got 6 games in hand on the 19th, but one player setting the Dale's newly turfed pitch alight was Lucas Moura, making his first start in club football since May 2017. That's 274 days ago. Absolutely atrocious, but nevertheless, got on the score sheet just before the hour mark. He's now been involved directly in 18 goals, that's 12 goals and 6 assists in just his last 20 starts in all competitions for Tottenham and PSG, although like I said, that record does stretch over an obscenely long time. We all thought Harry Kane had won it, didn't we, when he got his 8th goal in his last 6 FA Cup games. The Hurricane continues to blow on, but a 92nd minute equaliser. What scenes we saw there. Stephen Davis sending Rochdale to Wembley, because obviously Tottenham play there. But thank God VAR wasn't in motion here, because it would have absolutely killed the atmosphere. Absolute scenes, can I just say. I think Ian Henderson, the other Rochdale scorer by the way, is the top goal scorer in the entire FA Cup. He's got 6 goals.
I think Will Grigg also has 6 goals.
It's incredible. So big up Rochdale for scraping a Desmond against the Spurs.
Yeah, when you're in, Will Grigg's company, you're doing something right. Poch will be fuming though, yes, because his team had 65% possession in this game, 15 shots with 6 coming on target. Rochdale only managed 6 all game. Don't have the amount of shots they put on target because George couldn't be arsed. Now the Lily Whites apparently have themselves to blame. Errors coming from Winks and Alderweireld, leading to both Rochdale's goal. Andy Cannon, great porn name, was Rochdale's standout player in the midfield. 3 dribbles, 7 tackles. What? And an interception for the 21-year-old. He also grabbed an assist in the process, so a big well done to him. For Spurs though, they're now unbeaten in all competitions in their last 14 games. Their replay against Rochdale comes in between, it's sandwiched in between games against Palace and Huddersfield. So you'd think that they will probably build a bit of momentum during that period. They've also got the right sort of squad to play these games, haven't they, with that big one against Juve coming up somewhere around there. So probably be a decent next month or so for Spurs fans.
Our final winner then. We mentioned Manchester United briefly earlier, but we're going to be talking about Romelu Lukaku. This one comes from @O'Brien7 Walter. Interesting name. Why the big Belgian?
Well, he scored a brace, didn't he, Joseph, at the Kirklees Stadium, meaning he now has 10 goals in his last 11 FA Cup appearances. The big Belgian is enjoying this competition indeed. In fact, he's enjoying most competitions. That was his 21st goal of the season in just his 38th game, so he looks set to top his best ever season to date, which was 26 goals in 16-17. Could do with a few more in the bigger games, couldn't we? Just to put that sort of argument to bed that he doesn't score in important matches. I'm sure he will do moving forward. But that's the same as Morata and Lacazette combined at this point. So in terms of the big summer signings, he has found the most consistency. He's now scored, on the subject of consistency, 20+ goals in his last 4 seasons. So starting to gain decent momentum. Juan Mata had that goal ruled off. We've spoken about that enough. I don't want to speak about VAR again for another 2 weeks at the very least. But he provided an assist as well. Alexis Sanchez's assist for that second goal was also divine.
Some nice link
Not sure if you're going to talk about that. Haven't looked at your part. But that was Mata's 28th assist for United, more than anyone else at the club since he made his debut. Loves an assist, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. I actually thought on the day Huddersfield were a little bit unfortunate. I thought they controlled the game quite well, although I almost felt like Jose allowed them to control the game, and then we were looking to play on the counter-attack, using the pace of Alexis Sanchez and the pace of Romelu Lukaku. At the end of the day, they had 54% possession, the Terriers. They actually had 19 shots as well, 5 on target. United only mustered 2 shots on target. Both of them went in the back of the net, and can I just say Lukaku took both those goals absolutely brilliantly. The Terriers have now won 1 of their last 14 games against Manchester United. I don't play them that often though, obviously this is their first time in the Premier League. Yeah, you mentioned Alexis Sanchez a minute ago, didn't you? And he loves the cup competitions, the FA Cup in particular. He's contributed to 16 goals in his last 16 appearances, 8 goals, 8 assists. Fantastic through ball to Romelu Lukaku, like you mentioned. United though, bigger fish to fry on Wednesday against Sevilla. Hopefully Paul Pogba will come back into a midfield three. The absolute banter from Mourinho to play a 4-3-3, and obviously that was the day that Paul Pogba was injured or ill. So McTominay in there with Carrick and Matic sitting behind him. Nice little free roll from McTominay. So nice stuff, Mourinho. Really enjoyed that. Thanks very much. Let's move on to our final loser.
I was going to say, score against Sevilla?
Is it in Sevilla? I don't know. 2-0. United. Our final loser are Inter Milan, and this one comes from Khalid_in on Twitter.
Yeah, the Nerazzurri are playing horribly, aren't they? They lost 2-0 to Genoa to drop 18 points behind league leaders Napoli, having gone toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano with them until around December time, and it's just fallen off a cliff for them. Now, they will also drop out of the top 4 if Lazio win their game in hand, which is against Hellas Verona, best name in football, tonight, which looks to be somewhat of a foregone conclusion because Simone Inzaghi's men having a great season, aren't they? Apart from that 4-1 hammering to Napoli. Was it last week? Forget about it. Happens. Sarri ball. They have won just one Serie A game now in their last 10, taking a total of 9 points from the last 30 available. What is going on over there? If Spalletti wasn't already bold, he'd be pulling out his hair, wouldn't he? Winning just 1, having drawn 6, losing 3. To put that into perspective, Benevento, who were proper shit, have won 3 times during that period. God bless them. Love them. Everyone loves an underdog. But Genoa, meanwhile, are on a roll. 3 wins from 3 games, including this, and a trip to Lazio.
That is good form.
So, the Genoese, giant killers.
Yeah, at the moment they are, although Inter in this game, they were actually quite dominant, 66% possession, 14 shots to Genoa's 9, 5 on target, but at the back, an absolute shambles. The first goal in particular, complete calamity. Skriniar's clearance obviously smashed into Ranocchia's knee, into his own net, an own goal there. And then just to stick the knife in Spalletti a little bit further, ex-Inter striker Goran Pandev, how was he still playing the game? He must be 52 now. Bagged a second goal. That's just his 3rd goal in 21 league appearances. He's done well. Does he get 21 league appearances on a Zimmer frame this season?
Is he Georgian?
I think he is. He's something like that. I'm not too sure. Macedonian. Macedonian.
Don.
But the Zimmer frame was out. Inter's day, though, pretty much summed up by a terrible Ranocchia performance, refining some of that Hull City form from last season. 1 own goal, 1 yellow card, 0 tackles, 0 interceptions. Ugly. It is a big week. And in fact, a big few weeks ahead for Spalletti. He's got Benevento, you spoke about, up next. But then he's got the Milan derby and then Napoli roll into town. Hopefully he turns this form around because I do not want to see Spalletti's head on the chopping block at Inter Milan, and at the moment, with that form, it could well be. That's the end of winners and losers, but what's going on Eurofootball Daily Handle?
We had a shocker this week, an absolute Tony Blair. Stat Wars didn't go up on Saturday because of a technical error. So there'll be 2 this week. 1 on Thursday, 1 on Saturday. Me and Pat won't be featuring on both, so you'll have 2 new competitors to drill. Wow. Joe, what's happening on Football Daily FC?
Plenty more exciting stuff. If you haven't seen the game between us and Soccer AM, go and check that out. If you haven't seen the behind the scenes of the game that you haven't seen, go and check that out directly after. A lot of fun. A lot of fun and jokes. And there's also a challenge, FD versus EFD, at the Adidas HQ on Oxford Street. A lot of fun. Go over and watch that. Thanks so much for watching Winners and Losers, though. Au revoir. S'il vous plaît.